You're listening to The Table Talk with your host, Anthony Irvin, aka Spoken Light. Tune in every other Thursday starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with me and a new special guest live on Facebook and Twitch. Without further ado, let's start the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Table Talk. This is episode 25. Man, 25 episodes. That's 2 dozen. That's 2 dozen. Just a little over 2 dozen. 24 is 2 dozen, but 25, 2 dozen and a plus. Yeah. So this is awesome. I got an awesome guest here tonight. I got to meet him last night. We had a great conversation. Looking forward to you guys meeting him. Most of you guys are local in the area. You may know this gentleman. He is a solo artist, and he also has a band of his own as well, and we'll be getting to both of those as well. But first, I want to be able to give a shout out to my Patreons on Patreon. I want to give a shout out to Bernadette, Dave, and Mary. Thank you all for being part of the Patreon, the private community of Table Talk on Patreon. If you guys want to be part of the show, feel free to look at the Patreon account and become a Patreon today. Patreon.com/table_talk. We have some great incentives over there. You're going to be able to get the bonus footage that's going to be available after tonight's show with me and the special guest tonight. And you get bonus footage after every show. So there's extra content, and you'll be able to get downloads of these episodes, video and audio. They also go up on Podbean, Spotify, and Apple Music later down the line, and you guys can make sure to follow the show, follow Table Talk, and subscribe on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Music. The links are in the description of the broadcast here tonight, so make sure you check out the past episodes on those websites, and if you're watching on Apple Podcast, please give it a good rating and a comment. It really helps out the channel over there. And if you're on Spotify or Podbean, give us a follow, give us a comment on one of the episodes. It really helps out the channel and keeps it growing. So thank you all who have been downloading the episodes and tuning in on those as well. So without further ado, let's get to our special guest tonight, shall we? So ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce Matt McCann. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, Anthony. How you doing today?
Doing good. It was a busy day over at the lab, but I'm here.
That's good. Well, hey, happy 25th show. I think that's a dozen plus a baker's dozen.
Yeah, man. It's a good number to have, And thank you for being the 25th person to be on the show. I really appreciate it.
You know it, man. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So for those who may not know you, how about you give a little bit of a background about who you are, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. So, singer-songwriter, band leader, producer, engineer, all those kind of things. So I've been a musician for over 20 years. I've played on 5+ albums and produced other people's albums and played on other albums as well. I'm a lifetime musician, and some people might know me from the band Muskrat Flats. We play the Philly area and tri-state area, and this year we'll be getting out to some West Coast shows and maybe some Midwest shows as well.
Very nice.
But that's kind of a snapshot of my musical journey there.
Yeah, I am still a little new to the Muskrat Flats. Now, I usually see them playing out, and so are they strictly original band, or is it original and covers, or how did that all kind of start out for you guys?
It actually was a band that started out in the studio creating an original album, and I can talk more about that story a different moment, but it really started out at the studio. We created a 7-song album, and then went on to start playing shows and festivals and stuff like that. So we love playing our original music. Now we have much more material than that, But we also play plenty of covers depending on what the show is. Many people may have seen us out at 118 North in
Hmm.
Wayne.
Yes.
They do their Under the Tent series, and they've been nice enough to feature us a number of times last year and this year on their Grateful Dead night or on a special night. So they've been one of our biggest supporters, and we played there outside, inside, a number of times. And so a lot of people, may have seen us there playing lots of covers. We always like to sprinkle in some fun ones, and more than anything, we love to get people out and dancing and having a
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah, I saw a couple of videos from some of the past shows. It looks like you guys are, like you said, like to try to get the crowd moving, participating. And that's what it's all about. If you're up there and the people are loving it and kind of singing along, dancing, it makes the night even better for you guys.
Yeah, well, that's what I always tell young guys. If you can figure out a way to get people dancing, you'll have a
Yeah.
job for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Because especially in the bar scenes, restaurants, that's what most of the people are there for. I mean, if they're coming for a well-known act, they know if that they're going there to have a good time. And it's one thing for you to be playing music, but it's one thing being an entertainer of the music and being able to portray that, and people will catch on to that, and they can kind of tell bands that are in there for the long run with being able to being entertaining a crowd, whereas ones that are just there to be strumming a couple chords and saying, hey, we're playing these songs. But it's a different story when it's coming and saying, hey, we're playing these songs, but we want you guys to be up and dancing and having a good time, because that's the people that continue to come back for you.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's for us. We would be considered a jam band.
Hmm.
Dancey rock and roll music, folk, all that kind of stuff. But the biggest reason why we present all these songs and have people out is to get that communication between the artist on stage
Hmm.
and the people in front of us. That's what we really love. It's fun playing in acoustic shows, and I play all kinds of shows from a tiny little acoustic show to bigger rock and roll shows. But you really have to contour what you're doing. Sometimes when you're in music, unfortunately, you're the background music, and then
Right.
people put their head up and they say, "Oh yeah, I dig that song. That was cool." Yeah,
Hmm.
but you really got to figure out what the crowd you're playing to. And for us, we know that our success is getting people engaged. And a number of times people have said to me, something about the Muskrats that they connect with the crowd in a certain way, and that's what we're going for. So if we're doing that, then we're doing our job.
Yeah, yeah, especially with me, because I was an original artist coming up as a kid, and I've only been in the cover band scene for roughly like 4 or 5 years, and it was a big change to kind of go from being an original band, and you feed off a lot of that energy from the crowd, whereas being a solo artist in a bar, 9 times out of 10 you usually don't get that same type of reaction. People are, like you were saying, like you get the crowds that are just there to be there. They know you're there, but they're not gonna be like, hey, yeah, I'm coming out for this guy, or yeah, like they're just gonna be kind of doing their own thing, and every once in a while they'll turn to you and be like, oh, okay, I know that song, that was pretty good. And then but the other times you're just playing a song and you just hear like whispers, and you're just like, okay, next song. And it took me a little while to kind of not expect the crowd to react and have me feed off the crowd to know whether I'm doing like a good set. It was more of just the fact that just keep playing, and just stay in that moment, and people will catch on. And it's worked for me. The fact that, I mean, if they sometimes when you think people are not paying attention, they're paying attention even more. So they know that you're having fun up there, and you're really rocking out. They'll catch on to it for sure.
Yeah, you said it. That's the biggest job right there. And hey, keeping people in a seat at the bar, any bartender will appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Time and time again, if I'm playing a smaller bar or something like that, I always ask the guy afterwards, "Hey, what do you like to hear?" Or
Hmm.
what did you like tonight, or something like that. And they always tell me the same thing. I don't care, as long as you keep people in their seats. That's all I
Hmm.
care about.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Hey, the more seats, the more drinks that are being poured, the better the night's gonna be. So,
Hmm. You said it.
Yeah. So, as a solo artist, so were you a solo artist before going into the band scene, or was it kind of, a little bit of both, or just they kind of just came from the band scene and you were kind of like, okay, I want to start, exploring, a solo side of myself?
Yeah, definitely. I would say the latter. When I first started out in music was maybe my high school years kind of thing, and was in a band. I was telling you last night. I think it was
Uh
called Partly Cloudy or something like that. It was a horrible, horrible band name, but we did covers and stuff like that. And then after I got out of high school, I played in a band called Easy Four, and we toured all up and down the East Coast and all that kind of stuff, doing
huh. Awesome.
original music. We would throw in some tasty covers and all
Uh
that
huh.
kind of stuff. But my solo stuff didn't start coming until later. So I have played with a number of acts in between there, and I think in 2017 I put out my first real solo song, "Sweet Amalia."
Uh huh.
So yeah, definitely came later. It's everybody has a different musical journey, and mine was definitely helping people, accompanying people on tracks, all that kind of stuff, to help me figure out where I'm going and what do I sound like, who do I want to be, like, and all that kind of stuff, to finally, oh, okay, this is where I am, this is where I'm going, and this is what I sound like.
Very nice. Yeah, and, I was kind of similar in a way. I started out doing a lot of band stuff, and the solo thing kind of came late for me. I've always wanted to kind of do and write some acoustic songs, and I was at a point where the band I was in kind of dropped off, and I took some time off, and I was like, maybe this is the time to kind of just pick up an acoustic and see what happens. And I actually wrote three, four, five songs, and I'm like, well, I've been in studios before. Let me just start trying to put some demos down, and I put out a 5-song EP, and then it clicked to me. I was like, oh wait, I got to start like playing these out in front of people. I've never been on stage like by myself to like that extent. I've played in like talent shows and little certain things. It's like one song and you're done, but I have never been on stage by myself for longer than maybe 5 minutes. So it took me a
Mm-hmm.
little while to really gain the confidence with that. But I do got to say, I mean, I love the solo aspect of being a musician. And, I think a lot of my creativity really went and skyrocketed at that point because I was, my role in a lot of my bands were mainly rhythm, and I would have my times where I would, have some leads here and there, but I kind of knew my role. I was okay with my role. So kind of transitioning into being the one, like, in front of bright lights and everything was like a new phase for me. But it after a couple of years, you kind of start realizing and getting that confidence back and everything. So yeah.
And just like anything else, you just got to do it, be bad at it for a while,
Yeah.
learn, hopefully
Oh
learn,
yeah.
ask people around you, okay, to see, okay, look, I know I'm amazing and I'm the best artist you ever saw, even though there's two people in the bar. Now that we're past that, what can I do to get better?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think we all kind of have that stage where we're at the lowest of points and we're just learning, and at that point, like, you're just knowing it's okay to mess up because you're learning your craft, you're learning how the system works, and then it's only you start networking and you start seeing people that are up to a level that you want to be at, and then you see what they're doing and you're like, okay, well, if I want to get to that level, I got to get to or if I want to get and if I want to be on these people's levels, then that's where I got to start, putting in the effort to continuing to, improve my skills and, just seeing what they're doing and having to be able to not only, copy people, but, just kind of make it your own and still being able to, be original, but then, getting to that level of, from a year or two of like progress.
Totally. Yeah, I mean that's the way you do it. I tell when I talk to young guys, I say the same thing. Go. Who's your favorite local person? Go watch them. Watch what they do. Take notes, and find out what are they doing that is getting reaction out of people. Yeah, it takes time. You got to build up an audience and all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But one person at a time. You got to go into a bar and you got to wow them. Or you got to have one person come up to you afterwards and say, hey, that was great. Okay, cool. Let's talk for a little while.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that takes a while too to kind of just learn how to read a crowd to the point where, you don't necessarily have to think. You just kind of know, okay, well, it's kind of this type of crowd tonight, so I think I'm just going to, lay low. I don't necessarily have to, be as jumpy. You can kind of lay back and play the slower tunes, and then until that, later party crowd comes in, you're like, okay, here, now it's time to turn up. I've had that moment recently where, I was playing a lot of slower stuff, and then, a bunch of, the whole younger crowd starts coming in. I'm like, all right, well, they're not going to want to be, sitting back listening to slower Eric Clapton songs, so let's just start picking it up.
Tears in Heaven. Nope.
No, just scratch that.
Tears in Heaven, you're out. Layla,
Wonderful Tonight. Nah, I gotta. I don't see many people slow dancing in bars these days. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's a wedding thing, right?
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you worked on 5 different albums with different either musicians or bands. What are some of those, and what's probably your favorite project you've probably worked on, other than your current?
Yeah, I mean, just going way back, when I was in I guess it was like right around when I was graduating high school. We had a band called Man Bites Dog, and that was real fun. We did I guess 5-song EP, and those were with some of my best buddies, growing up. So that was just, that was the best, because sometimes you get into a band and egos take over and stuff like that. But if you can bring it back to having fun, being with your buddies and all that kind of stuff, that gives you a renewal. And then I guess, when I got into my 20s, I made an album with a band called Easy 4. And actually we made that right over in Springfield, circa maybe 2000, something like that. I'm dating myself now. So I played lead guitar on there and did a little bit of singing. And that was a super fun project, kind of folky, jammy rock type of thing. Again, it's like how do I find these on the internet? They don't exist anymore. I think I have a whole thing of CDs.
Yeah.
How do I get these onto the internet? So
right, yeah.
Something that I'll have to put to task at some point. And I guess in the more recent, I've made an EP with a band called Coal Mine Canaries, and that was kind of a punk rock band out of the Philly scene.
Nice.
Loads of fun, something outside of my general genre of music. Not that I don't appreciate punk rock, it's just not something that I normally play. So I had to, bring my guitar down from playing up here to all the way down, and play some loud and obnoxious riffs. But that was such a great time.
Yeah.
Making my own stuff. And in 2008, we made the first Muskrat Flats album called Field of Rays. 2018, excuse me. So that one kind of kicked off the band Muskrat Flats altogether. And that was kind of a really unique story as well. Kind of played with a band called The Huge for many of years with my brother Patty McCann, who a lot of people in Delco area know my brother Patty, and Brian Seipel, and then we had a couple different keyboard players who played with us over the years, and we did many shows all over the tri-state area, headlined the World Cafe and stuff like that, and so we actually started making an album and never finished it. So that's one that never got finished. And hey, maybe one day it'll pop out somewhere.
Yeah, one day, you never know.
Yeah, it was a band where we just played a lot of live shows, and at some point we got into the studio, started kicking tracks, and then never came to fruition. So that's why you got to make sure you don't miss that moment, because if you blink, it's going to be gone.
Absolutely. Yeah. I like. It's being in bands are awesome times, but depending on how things go, like they can be short-lived at certain points, because there's been people like myself that and you that have been in multiple bands, multiple different genres, and they kind of all have their own story to them. And like you were saying, like you were in a punk rock band where it's not something that you would normally see yourself, but you enjoyed it at that time. And I was in a metalcore band. That was one of my last ones, and it was because I'm a big fan of the metal scene, and I wanted to get into a type of metal band. And once I was in there, like I just loved the energy of the shows. It's totally different from being in a rock band. Like just the two scenes, although similar, they're very different. But it was a fun time. I got to go out to Ohio and record some music and play some shows out there, which I've never played other than playing the local tri-state area. I've never played any other shows outside of the tri-state, Delaware, New Jersey, and Philly. So being able to, say that I've been outside of the tri-state and PA area playing shows and, traveling that much, that was my experience of being on tour. So it was a really fun experience being out there for like a week, just recording a whole, EP out there. And it was fun times. It was really fun times out there.
Love that. Yeah, that's what we live for, recording, playing music live. Doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, man. Just as much as, playing live, I've grown to, love being a producer, and I've really been over the last year since being quarantined and everything with this whole pandemic. I've really been able to perfect a lot of my recording and producing skills, and being able to write and record my own music, and learning more on how to perfect my mixing and mastering. So although it's a shame with everything that's been going on, but it's kind of been good in the sense to kind of, scale it back and, have everybody kind of, improve their crafts and even take up something that they wouldn't necessarily maybe even have time for. And they're like, well, I mean, I have the time now, I might as well just try to experiment with it. And, I've always said that, once, we're definitely getting back to, a lot bigger of a normal than we were this time last year. But I feel, once the music business and music scene really starts getting out there full time and full tilt, it's going to, I reckon that we're going to have a lot of albums dropping from so many different bands. I mean, we've already seen a lot, but I think it's going to be a big boom of like new music that's going to be coming out. And I'm looking forward to that because, with a lot of guys that do it for a living, if they hadn't had to have, picked up a job or something, I mean, you would figure they're just going to be writing and recording. So, there's going to be, millions of different albums and singles popping out in the next year or two. And I mean, I'm looking forward to that aspect of, seeing and trying to listen to, new different types of bands, and even the bands that I look up to, and seeing what they've been up to and working on.
Oh yeah. No, I think that's one thing I'm always looking forward to. And I'm a huge music fan. Like, I just want to hear new albums. Mm-hmm. Now, when I hear a good one, I just listen to it and I play it out. Yeah. For, a vinyl, it would just be flattened totally. But I'm always looking for new music. So that's just a great thing to look forward to after no live music for a year. And, we're all trying to figure out what to do and all those kind of things. Hopefully we get rewarded with some of the best music of all times, right?
Yeah, we can only hope. We'll definitely get to this in a minute, but do you want to start off and play us a song to kick off the little live music portion of the night?
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right. While you're getting set up, I'm going to just let everybody know. Thank you for everybody who's been tuning in and in the chat. Just want to say hi to Zach Chapp, Chris Ryan, Terry, Lisa Lerman, Sean Woodward. Thank you all for being here tonight and, chatting it up in the chat. If you guys have any questions for Matt or me, feel free to leave a question for us in the chat. And I just want to say that you guys are watching Table Talk. Whoever's been a reoccurring listener, thank you for coming back. And to any new listeners who are watching now and or later down the line on Podbean, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. And make sure you guys are sharing this out to your friends and family. And I think we have Matt set up here. So, Matt, what are you going to play for us?
Yeah, I'm actually going to play a new song that was written a couple years ago, but slowly getting, perfected and all that kind of stuff. And is going to be coming up on the new Muskrat Flats album that'll be coming out, maybe later this year, 2022, something like that. No agenda right now. So this song is called Grow.
All right, let's get you in your guest spot, and we'll hear Grow by Matt McCann.
Breezes blowing in the air, luscious green everywhere. You're floating by the riverside, bubbles down below. Come face the sun above, come fill my heart with love. Blaze the grass and watch them pass, we will watch them grow. And did you know, winter it brings snow. Back inside we go. Nightfall comes so easily, we pollinate like honeybees. Blue skies and the birds that fly, tell me what you know. And did you know, love for you grow. Back inside we go. You go this way, I go there. Meet you in between. I find your message where we met. The past is far behind. And did you find love for you will grow? Back inside we go. And did you know, winter it brings snow. Back inside we go. Back inside we go.
There you go. That's Grow by Matt McCann. Very good, my friend. I like that.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that's a song I wrote mostly sitting by Kelly Drive, just hanging out near the Schuylkill. And
nice.
Beautiful day, after a vast winter, whatever year that was. And you can hear in the song I say, and then the winter brings more snow, because we always think, oh no, the winter won't be too bad on the East Coast, but it never seems.
Oh, I think we got a little bad connection there. So while we wait for Matt, it's probably a perfect opportunity to show you all. If you guys want to check out some more bonus footage from tonight, feel free to become a patron over on Patreon, over at patreon.com/tabletalk, table _talk, that is. We'll be putting up some behind the scenes footage / bonus footage from tonight. That'll be going up on the Patreon, only for Patreons only, and that'll be for the second and third tiers. There's 3 different tiers, and if you guys want to check out all those tiers, there's some awesome perks that you guys will be getting, and it starts at $1. Just you can support the channel for $1 very easily, and if you want to get the bonus footage and video downloads, you can check out the other 2 tiers by going to the link in the description. Would love to have you guys on the Patreon private community over there. And he just dropped out, so we're trying to get Matt back on here. So I'm going to let him go. And I think while he's going, I'm going to get a song in here to, pass a little bit of time here. So let me get to my little guest spot here. So change of scenery for you guys. So I am going to play a song called Shell. And you guys can pick this up on my website at spokenlifemusic.com. And you can also pick it up on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, anywhere you can usually pick up and stream, download music. It's most likely on there. So you can always just go to Google and search Spoken Life and type in your favorite platform, wherever you usually listen to music. And feel free to give it a stream, give it a download, and tell a friend. So, again, this song is called Shell, guys. So I hope you like it. So break me out from the shell, 'cause I don't think I can do this on my own. I can't control my disquieting thoughts, but how does this come from a man with a cheerful heart? I aim to please the world before myself, 'cause I'm scared to death of the outcome, the fear of what they'll think of me. Slow down and enjoy life, there's no cause for alarm. It's like being at war, a constant battle of frustration on the inside. But is there a method to this madness? And the thoughts that consume my mind. I will find my way. Ooh, the inner me will soon break away. Ooh, I will find my way. To please the world before myself, 'cause I'm scared to death of the outcome, the fear of what they'll think of me. Slow down and enjoy life, there's no cause for alarm. So break me out from the shell, 'cause I don't think I can do this on my own. Ooh, Thank you guys very much. Yeah, we got Matt waiting on here, so we're going to get him back in here, and we'll continue our conversation. All right, we got him back in here.
I'm back.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yeah, that happens. It happens.
I don't know what happened, but something happened.
But yeah, so I was going to say that we had a question coming from the chat here, and I think it was Chris Ryan. He was asking, let me pull it up here so it's a little bit bigger. Who is better at guitar, Matty or Patty?
You don't have to start anything there. You know, there's the student and then there's the teacher. No, I'm just joking. You know, I think I have a longer standing relationship with the guitar than Patrick does. You know, he is definitely a jack of all trades. If you know Patty, he plays drums, he plays bass, he plays guitar, he plays keys. He's a producer, all those things, but I might have him on guitar.
Hey, we'll have to get a little guitar battle on here eventually.
Yeah, we'll fight it out.
We'll settle it on Table Talk.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah. The first guitar battle.
Love it.
And also, and if you guys have any more questions, it's Anthony put this. Maddie, thank you. So we also, I believe this is from Zach Chapp. So, Maddie, thank you so much for all you do for this scene, even though you are so far away from home.
Yeah. Zach, you're my man. Have a nice relationship with Zach, especially this past year. We've known each other for a while, but this past year I've been working closely with him, as I do with a lot of musicians all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to, you know, he's a serious musician who's trying to hone his skills. So we spent much of 2020, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, what did we all do in 2020, and do we see the fruits of our labor?
Right.
So we worked tirelessly for about a year, working on his EP, so getting just the ideas down, figuring out where we're going to record it, all those kind of things. So yeah, we spent a lot of time in 2020, and then I guess, you know, just maybe a month or two ago, he got to release his single Communicate. So
yeah.
That's huge fan, and he put in a lot of hard work, so it's good to see that finally, you know, come to fruition. And, you know, really excited to see what Zach's going to do. Great young artist. And he's got a lot in front of him.
Absolutely. Yeah, Zach is a very awesome dude. And I was proud to be able to talk to him in one of the past episodes we had. And, you know, I got to have him Communicate on air. And, you know, I listened to it before, and I definitely had, you know, it's like, I think from what I remember, it was like a very, you know, classic rocky, you know, psychedelic almost type of style, and I loved it. You know, so I look forward to a lot more coming from Zach Chapp. And Zach, if you're still watching, you know, keep on up the good work, my friend.
Yeah, no, Zach's great, and you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you got to keep putting in the time, and then, you know, hopefully it starts paying off. And I think he's starting to see the fruits of his labor. You know, for the sake of mentioning, I'll give a shout out to Kyle Pylock, who's also a Delco area guy. I think he's in Wayne right now, but he also released an album this year, which I know you can get all over the internet, wherever you can get it. But he made his first solo album, longtime, you know, artist.
Very nice.
And he actually made all of the CD casings he designed and made himself. So, I mean, that's a beautiful homemade product, you know, put a lot of time and effort. I think he wrote all the songs, performed all the songs, recorded it, all that kind of stuff. It's basically his name and a lot of things after that on the CD.
That's awesome.
I was really happy to be part of that as well.
Awesome. Yeah, it's cool to be, you know, a musician, and then also, you know, because a lot of the biggest thing other than music, I'm a big web design nerd. I love web design, and, you know, doing websites and doing, you know, all types of different flyers and everything for this show. I've done all myself, down to like the layouts and all the graphics and everything. So it's definitely a hobby of mine that I've taken since high school. I've only really taken one little course in high school on how to really work with HTML and stuff, but everything else, YouTube is my best friend lately with a lot of that stuff. So you figure out something and you're like, okay, well, if YouTube doesn't have it, then I don't know what to do.
That's exactly it. You know what? And nowadays, you got to do everything. You got to know how to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
It definitely
And
helps.
oh yeah, no, and I mean, if you're gonna make a splash and I just play guitar, I'm gonna wait for somebody to come along and see me. That's not gonna happen. But I'll give a shout out to Patty, probably one of the, if not the most hardworking guy in Delco. Now that I've left Philadelphia area, he's definitely one of the most hardworking guys. You see him behind the lighting rig, you see him behind the sound rig, you see this guy on stage helping people. He's doing it all, but he released, I guess, 2 EPs over the course of the pandemic. And this is more of his electronic DJ kind of stuff. And, beautiful thing. You should check that out. I mean, but he didn't miss much of a beat. Definitely stayed real busy on the internet, Facebook and all that kind of stuff, and releasing 2 EPs. That's a huge deal. And, he's another guy who, I said, I got these songs, blah, blah, you're going to put them out, right? When's that EP coming out? Kind of thing. And it's, great to see. I love jamming to the tunes, so it's great to see, just like you said, new music coming out of a bad situation and just in general, from 2020, let's keep the good stuff, get rid of the bad stuff that was in 2020, and we'll be good.
Absolutely. There's always some type of positive you can take from a negative situation. So I feel, it's a shame, and it's 2020 was a time for ages that will never be forgotten. But it's only so much that you can do, but if you try to take and make the best of those, hopefully everybody made the best of those days instead of just just thinking, well, I'm just gonna sit home and eat and drink. I know I did a lot of eating, but on the music side, I started really trying to take that time to think about hey, what's certain things that, I needed to do, and that I can, if I'm coming out of this and I want to make like a big impression. There was I wanted to upgrade a lot of my gear. I wanted to, upgrade this and that. I wanted to kind of work on certain things, and this show was born within that time, and then working on my video production skills and doing this and being a producer of a show, of my own show. Never would have thought of being a host of any type of show, but I've grown to love doing this, and talking to people like you, Matt, and it's been such an awesome time just continuing to get to know you on a level, and continuing to learn about other musicians and how we love what we do, and we love to continue to entertain people on different experience levels. And like how you're teaching the younger generation, I love trying to help out people that are just starting out or just need that extra push to be like, hey, I'm either a songwriter, but I haven't really had a chance to really start putting my music out there. What do you kind of have as advice? Or it's just giving any type of advice on how to perform, even going to like live streaming here. I've done many live streamings way before the pandemic hit, and even that I feel I've kind of started to upgrade and try to make it as entertaining as possible, instead of just throwing your phone up there and just hoping that the audio is always working, but trying to make it the best the best thing kind of on the internet, if not one of the best. So
yeah, you said it, man. That's I think that was if you weren't kind of going into the dark place and having to deal with so many things in 2020, if you didn't have to do that, you weren't alive in 2020.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, a lot of us said, what am I going to do? For Muskrat Flats, we played our last show in late December of 2019 with the hopes, I left New Year's Eve for California, and we're going to take the first 3 months off, and then, I was going to get back on the plane and, start doing shows again.
Uh-huh.
That's the best laid plans right there. Of course, that didn't come to fruition, and everything got pushed back, and all that kind of stuff. And you get depressed, you get sad, but then eventually you say, okay, well, what are we gonna do? I guess we're gonna write new songs. I guess we're gonna, like you said, figure out some new ways to get our music out there. We also had been working on our merch line, and we had redone our branding and stuff like that. So we said, okay, let's keep working that, and came out with a whole line of t-shirts and clothing and all those kind of things. So along with you, I also helped to redesign the Muskrat Flats website, started a mailing list online and all that kind of stuff. So
very nice.
We didn't really waste much time ourselves. We were communicating every week, coming up with, what's the backup plan for this going to be, what's the next move here, and all that kind of stuff for when, the dust actually settles.
I agree. And, you're always thinking 10 steps ahead when it comes to a lot of this stuff. You're always thinking, trying to keep, your social medias up, trying to, be a writer, be a performer. It's, a lot of people only see, what's on the phones most of the time, like, oh yeah, Matt's playing, or the Muskrat Flats are playing, but then they don't see the behind the scenes of, the countless hours, what it takes to, get to that point. And, unless, you have a lot of friends of the band or people that know personally, but, it's what we do, it's what we love doing. And, I wouldn't be, doing anything else if it came to it. I just love being able to perform for people, and, being able to, especially with original music, having music that touches people in certain ways, that when they come to you and say, like, hey, this song like really meant a lot to me. And when you're writing, I know for me, sometimes I'm not usually thinking I'm writing this for a certain person. It's just more, this is what's coming out in this song. And, I don't usually tend to write it thinking that, it's going to be, somebody that's coming to me and saying, like, yeah, I put this on and it really, gave me a good feeling or anything. But it really, makes my day when I have somebody that comes to me and says, I've been listening to this album or these couple songs, and it's just, gotten me through a lot of, certain things, and it just makes my day even better listening to it. So it's fun to hear those type of comments from people.
Yeah, you said it, man. We had just a great year of, communication and feedback with our audience. We were all stuck inside, more or less, and whatnot. But, we were definitely trying to get, Patty would be the biggest, example, but he was, week in and week out on Facebook, putting himself out there and keeping people engaged. I was trying to do it as much as I can too. But it's tough, man. Myself personally, I have a lot of trouble warming up just playing to a camera. For me, there's definitely a live aspect that I don't want to say it's kind of crucial, but it's a big part of why I love music. And, to your, like you mentioned there, that playing music part is very small. It's 5%, 3% of what we do as musicians. The rest of it is the planning, is the, writing songs, is the getting prepared, getting organized, and all that kind of stuff. That's what, if you're going to do it, you're going to, do it for a living. That's what you got to do. You got to
absolutely.
Really, it's 3:30 in the morning and you're still breaking down equipment, and you got to be up at 6:30 the next day, and, get up with your job or your kids or whatnot.
Right.
That's when you find out if you really actually like music or if you just want to kind of hang out.
Absolutely. It definitely it definitely weeds out a lot of the people that are like the weekenders, or the people that are like, it's one thing, making money with music, that's good, but then there's the people that are like, hey, I can be performing for 5 people and make like $10, but as long as I'm having fun up on stage and doing what I love, I can care less about making, X amount of dollars or playing in front of certain crowds. I mean, there are just extra perks when it comes, but like being a live entertainer, like if you love entertaining, nothing else is gonna, kind of compare to it, just from being able to, connect with an audience in that type of way.
Yeah, that's why it was a real tough year on musicians for sure.
Yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
musicians and concert goers. It was a tough one. That's a tough pill to swallow. I myself, I'm definitely an extrovert. I love being in front of people. I love
Mm-hmm.
being talking to people. All that kind of stuff. For some people, I think 2020 was not as tough as far as being isolated from other people. For me and people like me, it was really tough. And I think
Yeah.
that can be good to forces you to kind of go internal and rethink things and kind of address a lot of things that maybe you've had on the back burner for a little while.
Right.
But that's for me, that's the biggest part of music. I love playing in the studio. I love doing all that kind of stuff. But playing live is the ultimate. That's where it's at.
Can't agree more, man. So, Matt, I think it's time that we get to the segment of the show called the Table Talk Spin Wheel. So, I'm going to pull the spin wheel up, and the spin wheel, Matt, is a wheel that contains 3 different segments. I was trying to figure out a cool little segment or segments of the show, but I'm like, well, let me just make a wheel and put these 3, and then whatever this spin wheel lands on, that'll be the topic for the actual night of the segment here. So I'm going to spin the wheel here real quick, and let's see what it comes up with.
No whammies, no whammies.
No whammies. Topic question. So, thankfully, I had written down 1 or 2 today because I had a feeling I was going to get to that topic question today. So, we were just talking about being entertainers and loving what we do, being having music, but this kind of rolls right into it, and I'm glad that I thought of this today. So, if you weren't doing music, Matt, what do you think you would be doing instead?
That's a good question. Whatever it would be something with connecting people, because I think that's what I really do is I connect people.
Mm-hmm.
And something with connecting people, bringing people together, something working with my hands. I've done many odd jobs in the past. I've worked on farms. That's definitely the hardest job I've ever had. I've worked on roofs,
Uh-huh.
all those kind of things, but something working with my hands, making things. I think that's something that's kind of lost on our generation, and maybe a little bit better than our generation is, making things that people buy, things that make people's lives better.
Yeah.
If we're talking about music, then, it's making music. But
Right.
that's something that I'm really passionate about. Like we talked about, I'm a big science dork, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, overall, it would be working with people. I love being around people, talking, bringing people together, finding solutions, and creating. Whatever that job is, I'm down for it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and I think that just kind of rolls right into the fact that music brings so many people together, and if you just have that in you, that even if you didn't have music, there's ways that you can still have that passion and put that into something else. If we didn't have music, there's always something that can potentially bring people together. It's just kind of thinking outside the box, or whether it be like another certain job that brings people to or connecting with certain people, and it's definitely a great trait for a lot of people, and that can actually make people feel good, and bringing people together in times when they actually need that type of connection, especially in the times that we've had, because there's a lot of people that have gone into dark times where they felt that they were they didn't have anybody. And I feel definitely it's the time now that we need to, communicate with more people, even though, we're getting back into like physical communication with people. I think we just have to continue to, check on our loved ones, check on the people that we care about, and even, the people that we may not have full contact with, but just people we may have not talked to in a while, but just sending that message saying, "Hey, man, it's been a while. I just wanted to check in on you, seeing how you're doing." It goes a long way for a lot of people.
Yeah, actually, I found myself doing that a lot last year. I'd like just calling people up or contacting them randomly and just saying, I forget where we left things off. Did I leave that off on a good foot? How's things going? Let's catch
Yeah.
up, all that kind of stuff. Because, yeah, I don't know what it was, but, a lot of 2020 had me, sent me back into very contemplative, very much, reflecting on things that we don't often get to do if you're not meditating for hours a day, and not many of us have that kind of time. So, that was definitely a big thing for me.
Awesome. Yeah, it's awesome thing to have, man. Would you want to play another song for us?
Yeah, do a quick one here.
Yeah. So again, guys, thank you guys for being here on Table Talk, another episode of Table Talk. We are doing this every other Thursday. Tonight was a special time, at 8 o'clock, but we're usually starting here at 7:30 p.m. So make sure you guys are liking me on Facebook, Spoken Life Music, like me on Facebook, Twitch, everywhere you can usually have your social medias, Instagram, Twitter. Follow me here, and make sure you're following Matty in the and his bands, and keep a lot of his projects that he's working on. He's definitely gonna be, it looks like he's definitely working a lot in the background. Looking forward to seeing what he's gonna be doing in the months and years to come. So what are you gonna be playing for us now, Matt?
Yeah, it's another new song that came out of 2020, and it's called High Plains.
Okay.
And some kind of cowboy themes going on, and
Nice.
It's definitely kind of as far as setting goes, return to the acoustic guitar, to that kind of pure sound, and a little bit of that solo artist feel. Although we've I've done it with the band and with other people, but yeah, this is one called High Plains, and yeah, great talking with you today, man. I really appreciate you having me on the show today. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I was just going to say, High Plains, it does kind of have like a country kind of ring to it, so that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. So here we go.
All right, here we go.
Ride around on the high plains, he's got no place to go. You don't want to show down, no hiding its all sage, brush and stone. And I can't afford to run, waiting for my day in the sun. Dig my feet in the mud, I'm waiting for that good morning love. Thought I'd find some gold in these hills, but the cold winter rain giving me chills. There's a strange wind running through the desert tonight, so I keep my fire burning bright. No, my dear, don't you tear, I'll be back again. The sound of your voice takes me back to where I belong. And the sun don't set and the sun don't rise, it's just a trick play in your mind. And I'll be rolling in hair arms, but when Annabelle's gone, clouds fight against blue sky. Killing cattle, soil and grain, turn the earth and watch the seasons bring the rain. 39 years in this cold, dark place, and I'm trading puddles for some blue sky. And oh my dear, don't you tear, I'll be back again. The sound of your voice, it takes me back where I belong. And the sun don't set and the sun don't rise, just a trick play in your mind. And I'll be rolling in hair arms, but when Annabelle's gone, sun gonna shine when Annabelle's home. Bright blue skies when Annabelle's gone, sun gonna shine against blue skies, against blue skies, against blue skies, against blue skies. I can't afford to run, waiting for my day in the sun. Dig my feet in the mud, wait for that good morning love. I can't afford to run, waiting for that day in the sun. Dig my feet in the mud, wait for that good morning love.
Woo!
Thank you, sir.
I like that one. Little country, little country.
That's right, man. Get back to basics here.
Yeah. So we've talked about a lot of your music projects tonight, and it seems like you've had a wonderful, music career thus far. But I want to know, the what are some of your influences as a musician? Like, what are the bands, artists that kind of made you either want to pick up a guitar or something that kind of clicked and say, hey, this is something I want to be doing?
I mean, I can answer that question, but if you've watched 155 episodes of my brother playing guitar, that probably sums it up for you right there. But yeah, my folks weren't like musically inclined people per se, but my father was a huge music fan. My mother, I could tell you stories. She has, my grandfather on my mother's side was the director of American Bandstand.
Oh,
So
wow.
she sat on the lap of, I don't even know, Mick Jagger or like famous
Wow.
people when she was young and stuff like that. So different kind of musical influences.
Mm-hmm.
And my father, he took me in seventh grade to see the Allman Brothers at the Tower Theater, which
Tower Theater.
might not be a thing much longer or isn't. And, he turned me on to the Allman Brothers, the Grateful Dead, Dire Straits, and just so many oddball things. He was always the guy who had the next cool thing. He was listening to cool country music before country music was a thing, and
Uh-huh.
all that kind of stuff. And he always prided himself on, being a person who kind of knew a lot about music. So those were definitely big influences. And then, growing up in the 90s, of course, grunge rock and
Oh yeah.
MTV and all that kind of stuff. And um, some of my bigger influences when I was younger, Ani DeFranco was a big one. I was a big Dave Matthews fan back in the
Mm-hmm.
day and all that kind of stuff. But my heart lies probably in the jam band scene. I love, the Disco Biscuits, Fish, Grateful
Mm-hmm.
Dead, String Cheese Incident, all that kind of stuff. So love it all. Everything has been a big influence on me, and there's, you know, every genre has its good music and
Mm-hmm.
its, not so
Yeah.
great music and all that kind of stuff. But that's why I love listening to good new music, is
Yeah.
because never know where you're going to be inspired.
Yeah, man, I hear you. I've always been the same way. Like, I'm not much of a country person, but being part of like the cover band scene, knowing that you have to kind of be a little diverse in your shows, I've kind of learned to appreciate. Not that I've never appreciated. I shouldn't say that I've learned to appreciate it, but I've learned to, from a musician standpoint, like, okay, like, I mean, the structures of a lot of the songs and where a lot of these things come from. Like, okay, there's certain bigger artists. Like, I'm a big fan of Chris Stapleton. I'm a big fan of a lot of like his type of music and influences of that sort that has like more of like the bluesier country feel to them. And that I've always been a very diverse person. I mean, I can go one day, jamming out to Jimi Hendrix for a couple hours, and then maybe a couple hours later, I might be, going to something heavier, and then going back to some more like acoustic feels, and then a rock band. So I feel it's always nice to have a little bit of diversity, whether you're a musician or not. It's always good to kind of experiment and see like different types of music, and everybody's not gonna like every little genre. But I feel everybody has their own tastes, and it's good to kind of at least give something a listen, and then you can always just make your judgments. But I've liked being, you know, uh, easily diverse in a lot of different music that I listen to, and it just kind of goes by the day or the mood that I'm in. So
Yeah, 100%. Everything's got its own, like you said, it's, a mood for this, a mood for that. What do you listen to when you're sad? What do you listen to when you're happy, and all that kind of stuff?
right.
So for me, music has always been there. And, whether it's kind of, sitting in my room when I was, a young teenager playing air guitar, trying to think I was Dwayne Allman or something like that, trying to play, some obnoxious Allman Brothers tune.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing that for me, it's, it's a way of speaking to people in a way that you can't communicate any other way. It's totally unique. And I think there's something to be said about live music, and that you can listen to something, and I do this all the time, not until I see the band live do I actually kind of get it. Oh, now I get it. Now I see why people appreciate this. And I think that's kind of incumbent upon us all, is, hey, especially now that, hopefully things are kind of behind us,
Yeah.
get out and see a new live band, try some
Right.
different kind of music, something like that, because you never know what you're going to find. And, I'm not a huge country music fan, but you mentioned Chris Stapleton, who I've know, just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote High Plains last year, not even knowing that this climb from starting over, I think it's something like this. He goes, and it don't matter where the wind, something like that. And I said,
Uh-huh.
I never even heard the song, but it's very similar to
Right.
what's going on in mine. And that's the thing, a person across the globe can play a song, same chord structure,
Yep.
come up with something completely different. And I think that's probably the most exciting thing about the time that we live in right now, is we are also connected.
Mm-hmm.
And at any given point, you're going to have a great idea, and somebody's going to hear it on Table Talk
Mm-hmm.
across the globe.
Yep.
And that's going to revolutionize whatever it is that you just drop that truth bomb on everybody.
Yeah.
And just like that, an idea can completely change the world.
Right.
I think that's incredible. So I think that's something to strive for.
Yeah. Yeah. That's heavy words right there. It's that one little thing can make or break or make a big change in the world, not even just for music, but it can just hit somebody and set them off to be like, hey, I just was watching something or just messing around and this kind of came to my mind, and put forth into it, and it just takes off. You never know you never know until you try something, and you never know, you might just be the next big thing. So it's always with the simple fact that some people are always usually taken back, like, well, I could do this, but some people may not never listen to it, or like, yeah, I'm too scared to put it out. I mean, the internet's a big place, and it's you just got to continue to just keep on doing it, because the worst thing that can happen is you don't necessarily get the reactions you want, but as long as you are happy with what you're putting out, whatever type of content that might be, I'm trying to get out of being a numbers guy of like, if this thing doesn't get like so many likes or so many views, then it's just not, it wasn't worth it. But you got to love the content that you're doing in the first place, and if you believe that the content you're putting out is awesome, somebody else will eventually fall upon it and be like, yeah, this is awesome too. And then it may take a couple years for you to get the right formula down, but just keep on doing what you're doing, keep on thriving to be better than the day before, and eventually people are going to catch on to it.
Yeah, you said it, man. I mean, we all got to start somewhere. You got that first step is the most difficult one. And people say, oh, how do you perform on stage? I would get anxious or nervous or whatever. It's like, I get anxious and nervous before every show.
Me too.
Now,
I still do.
I deal with it in a different way than I did when I was younger, kind of thing. But, we all got to go out there and play to nobody, play to 2 people, play to 5 people. And even though, I've been at the time playing music for 15 plus years, when I started Muskrat Flats, we had to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We had to go into, Delaware County, Philadelphia, Westchester, Delaware, all these surrounding area places. Start with nobody in the bar. Start with one person each week. Be consistent. And next thing you know, it's 5, 10, 15 people show up, 20, 40 people. Next thing you know, the dive bar you're playing in is completely packed.
Yep.
Right? And, if we started in 2018, 2019, playing to next to nobody, I just was able to go back east, I guess last month, and get to see all my favorite people in the whole entire world, and have a show. And, I think we sold out the night 100, 120 people or something like that. So that's the trajectory of being a musician.
Yeah.
You got to start with nothing, work it, be consistent. Next thing you know, if you're doing it right, it takes time. You got to take in that sensory data, because you went into you went back to your drawing board. You came up with all these great songs and great ideas, and then you put them out in the world, and not everything was a big hit. So what do? Well, you retool, figure out, ask people, get some feedback and all that kind of stuff, and that makes you stronger. Next thing you know, 10 people show up. You got to play to every single one of those people. Hey, what do you like? What do you like that we did? Okay, I liked your originals. I liked your cover of this, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's just how it goes.
Yeah, man. It's the climb that gets us, and just everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to be selling out Madison Square Garden one day. Unfortunately, unfortunately, not everybody's gonna be able to do it. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it every week. But we like we just, to sum up what we've been talking about, we love what we do, and even if we were playing for if we were just playing for ourselves, we would be playing like there was 50,000 people there, because it's just we love what we do, man. And I just want to say thank you for being on here tonight. It was a pleasure getting to finally meet you, and thank you for coming to me to actually be on the show. And it was a real pleasure, talking with you. And hopefully, when you're back on the East Coast, we can hopefully meet up one of these times and maybe have a physical conversation and talk a little bit more. And we'll have to get the Muskrat Flats on here and have you back and talk a little more as well.
That sounds like a blast, man. I would love to have that. And, when I drop any preemptive rumors here, but, September comes around. Maybe Maddie will be coming back into town as well. And, definitely looking forward to the next round of shows coming up, and would love to get in front of you, meet you face to face, maybe give you a hug and all that kind of stuff. But I love what you're doing, man, and that's how it is. You're communicating to people. Somebody reached out to me today from just further south of me in California, and said, "Oh, I'm really excited you're going to be on Table Talk tonight. If you ever come out to California." And I said, I live in California, so you're getting out there, man. You're all over the place. So that's really cool to be here today, man. I appreciate
that's
it.
Awesome, and I love that people are kind of starting to pick it up, and like you said, it's growing by every episode, and I'm loving it. I appreciate everybody watching tonight. Thank you for being so active in the comment section tonight, guys. So we will be back. I'm gonna take a little small hiatus for maybe about 2-3 weeks. I'm preparing for my son's first birthday coming up in just about 2 weeks, so I'm going to be doing that, spending some time with the family, and then we'll be back with episode 26. I believe it's going to be in the second or third week of August, guys. So make sure you guys are following me here on Facebook and Twitch. Make sure you guys follow Matt and the Muskrat Flats, and we'll be trying to get them on the show here, hopefully before the end of the year. And just want to say thank you all for being here. You've been watching Table Talk. We will see you on another episode, guys. Have a great one, and thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
Talk to you soon, man.
Have a good one.